But we have to do it soon, folks, because there truly is a war going on. Just the amount of chemtrail spraying, folks. I've got a friend who's been telling me that he thinks the chemtrails are a good thing, that barium actually counteracts cyanide, and that we are seeing massive amounts of cyanide in the atmosphere from car exhaust, and that the barium might be good for counteracting the cyanide. I mean, I don't know, folks. I can't see that the government would be doing that, but all I can really do is go by the water test results that I've seen. And I've seen what's in the water, what's coming down in the rainwater. I've seen what's happening to our oceans and how even the fluoride content is going up in fish because of the storm drains that wash into the ocean. All the fluoride that's in our water supply is all washing out into the ocean. So all of these chemicals that we are putting into the ecosystem are affecting the entire ecosystem. I'm seeing this all over the place, and whatever the excuse is, I cannot see any reason for spraying chemicals in the sky. If they're worried about exhaust fumes, then why don't they legalize hydrogen engines? Why don't they legalize Tesla technology and allow people to have free energy devices in their car? We could have fixed the pollution that's been generated by the use of fossil fuels years ago, but the bankers who control our governments and the big money interests who control the bankers didn't want to release free energy because it wasn't profitable for them. So we could fix all of this. We could have fixed it years ago. And now things are all coming to a head, and the very people who've created the problem are simply adding more fuel to the fire under the pretext of fixing it. Whatever the reason is for the chemical spraying that happens from aeroplanes, as I said, all I can do is read what's in the water. And even if it is being done to combat exhaust fumes, well, it's simply putting a band-aid on a festering sore. It's simply compounding the problem. The problem needs to be fixed at its root cause. The root cause of all of these problems is the introduction of a corrupt monetary system, the imposition of interest upon the people, and the corruption that exists at the highest levels of our government and our societies that allows this type of criminal activity to be perpetrated against the human race. So we'll talk a little bit more about a few things like this after the break. I think it's time for a break now, folks. So we'll slip off for a break and I'll talk to you again in a few minutes. Welcome back, my friends. Now, with everything that I've been talking about just prior to the break there, when I said that I would like to see all the money and assets of the criminal banksters seized to fix the problems that they've created, I do think this would be a good idea. But again, in the seizing of these people's assets, I don't think that it's a good idea to harm the people that have carried out these crimes. When I look at what these people have done, it becomes very, very clear that these people are psychopaths and they are sociopaths. I believe that these people really do need healing more than they need harming. As I've often tried to explain to people, everybody messes up or goes off the track at some time in their life. Everybody does, folks, to a greater or lesser degree. You'll find that most people at some point in their life, they sort of go off the track. These bloodlines have simply done that over a series of generations. Their children have been brought up that way, and they are, well, they're devoid of empathy. They very much feed on the power energy, the very, very seductive energy that you gain simply by having power over other people. This is the energy that people like serial killers and rapists thrive on. Brutal tyrants, brutal leaders within the military, wife beaters, people who are cruel to animals. It's that same power, it's that same energy, that feeling of control of the life of another. These people feed off that energy. But again, I believe it is simply because they have gotten addicted to this type of energy. Sentience and the power of speech give human beings a fabulous potential. They give us a huge potential, greater than all other animals, all other life on this planet. But these gifts, the gift of sentience and the power of speech, also give to humans a greater vulnerability to imbalance. This is truly what separates us from other species. And when we are subject to imbalance, this imbalance can be fixed. And you can't hold grudges against people, because people learn and people change. To hold a grudge against a person and wish harm against a person truly does make you no better than what they were at their moment of imbalance. People learn and people change, and that is simply life. Life is about learning, and it's about adapting to change as new knowledge comes to hand. You've always got to remain true to your heart and true to yourself, and you must also allow other people to have their opinions and allow other people to grow and to learn in their own fashion, because truth is not told, truth is learned, it is realized by the individual. And as Johann von Goethe once said, you should treat people as if they were what they ought to be, and in that way you help them become what they are capable of being. And it was, I believe, Virginia Starr who said that feelings of worth can flourish only in an atmosphere where individual differences are appreciated, mistakes are tolerated, communication is open, and rules are flexible. And I find these things to be wonderful guidelines for living life in general, folks. I think that adopting that sort of an attitude can really help. And as I've said, don't seek pleasure and retribution in violence. Don't feel the need for revenge. Seek pleasure in love. Don't hate your brothers and don't hate your enemies. And I know that can be extremely difficult to do, folks, because when you see the crimes that are carried out and the atrocities that are carried out on the world, it can become very easy to hate these people. But they're simply polarized. They need healing more than they need hurting. So it's very important not to fall into the hate trap. Life is a game, folks. It's a game of free will. It's a game of freedom of choice. The choice between the two polarities of energy that I always talk about, the choice between love and fear, between violence and hatred, or empathy and compassion. You access the field, you communicate with the field, you download energy from the field depending on what the field is charged with, and you replenish the supply all the time with your emotions. If you put yourself in a state of empathy and compassion, you charge the field with that energy, and you also charge people around you with that energy. If you live your life by improving the lives of those around you, it comes back to you simply because we are each the center of our own universe, and if the people that you help then start living their lives by helping those around them, then they help you back in turn. We all help each other. And this isn't any form of strange belief. It isn't communism. It isn't socialism. It isn't any ism at all. It's being a responsible human being who understands their connection to all others and to the life of this planet. And you can wish to help this planet, and you can wish to live in harmony with this planet without being accused of being a Gaia worshipper. You can look at the power of the shamanistic traditions, you can look at the power of the energy fields and the power of communication of emotions and the power of spiritualism without being a New Ager or a hippie or a pagan or any of that sort of thing. Because all you are doing is being a responsible human being. Every single problem that we face on Earth as humankind can all be remedied very easily by simply understanding the connection we all have to each other. All of the problems that are happening on the Earth, all of the problems that have happened on the Earth, and all of the problems that will come to the Earth in the future, we are the source of all of those problems. It is our sense of division, our sense of fear, and our failure to understand the manipulation of false ego that happens within our society. It's failure to face our own darker side, our own darker self, and to actually choose the correct polarity of energy that has caused all of the problems that humankind faces. and will cause all of the problems that humankind will continue to face until we choose to pause and to look at things from a greater perspective. Until we choose to look at the person next to us and realize that there is no division amongst any of us. We can sit there individually and meditate, we can do our energy work, we can do all the things that people want to do, go to prayer, do whatever you want to do that you feel will help, that will charge the field. But do it to help the field, do it to help all of humanity, not just to help yourself. And if you see something going on in the world around you that is not acceptable,